What's up, everybody? Welcome to Discovering Nicole. That would be me, Discovering Nicole. Tonight, we are going to have a special guest on. We are going to have Luke from the Narcotic Savant. He's going to come on, and we're going to talk all about some motherfucking drugs. So come on in, get yourself a snack, get yourself a drink, buckle up your seatbelt, and let's get ready to ride, motherfuckers. I'm going to go get me some ice water, and I'll be right back. I would love if you guys would do me a solid. Share the video, like the video, and invite your friends. Share the video, like the video, and invite your friends. I'm going to go over to Facebook, make sure the video is showing up over there, and then go get my ice water, and then we're going to get this show on the motherfucking road. It should be really funny because Luke is hilarious, and we get along. And invite your friends. I'm going to go over to Facebook, make sure the video. Okay, all of my people who help me out, share the video on Facebook into a bunch of recovery Facebook groups, and let me go get my cold water. Okay? Love you guys. I'll be right back. All righty. All right, here I come. All right, here I am, everybody. Here I am. So Luke messaged me and said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yeah." So hopefully he'll get his ass on over here. I got my little pajamas on today because I have just been relaxing today, you guys. Yesterday for my birthday, I went and got some Mexican food. And honey, let me just tell you something. It was not a good idea to do that. That Mexican up. I ate too much. I got that damn California burrito. Y'all know I love that motherfucker. And I got guacamole and cheese dip, salsa, and ceviche too. Ceviche is I love ceviche. The shrimp kind, not the fish kind. And I put it on top of Tostito. And I eat that shit. So I turned 41 yesterday. We have celebrated another birthday. Thank God that I'm still alive. I made it to see 41. I go to see the doctor on Monday at 10:30 in the morning for my blood pressure. So I'm going to talk to him about getting put on Ozanjaro or Wegovy for my weight to help with that blood pressure situation. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., I go and I get they called me, it's ready, it's there. So I'm going to go try it on and make sure that it looks right. Yesterday, I went to go get a new phone, and AT&T has a deal right now that as any old customers or new customers, you can bring in your phones and trade across, and you can get the new Galaxy 23. I wanted the new Samsung Galaxy Ultra 23, which means I was going to have to pay $200 for it. No big deal. Just $200, right? I go in there. I'm like, it's literally $215. I go in there and I have to pick Nate up at 4. When I tell you guys, I did not leave there until 3:45, and that bitch didn't have. I left there cussing their asses out. I was like, what? They were trying to get me pay full price for the phone. I said, it literally says on the sign, new and existing customers. I said, y'all, I've been with AT&T since I was 17 years old. Get it to fucking together. The girl that I went to see, it's like she is so dumb. So dumb. And so I'm going to go next time when she's not there and the guy is there because he's smart. He gets me and my husband in and out. For some reason, this girl just sits there and like plays. And she has the other girl asking her all these questions. It's like, yo, she's trying to get me done in a timely fashion. You know, so shut the fuck up and let her get my shit done. You know? Oh, it's so annoying, dude. It's so annoying. So anyways, AT&T just has the best reception here. So they have the best reception. Like all those, come on. The other places like Verizon and all them, they suck here. They don't have no coverage. Hey, Robin, come on in, honey. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Let me tell my Facebook people, if you guys want to come over to YouTube, I'm going to put the link in the chat because we have like a whole bunch of people on YouTube in the chat right now. So if you like coming to the lives and being in the chat with everybody, you can come over here, but you can still see the video from either place. So let me put the YouTube link, tube.com/recovery journey. For my people, for my members and patrons. For members and patrons, we will be live tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for my members and my patrons. And we're going to hang out. We're going to fucking get some food. We'll be cooking. I'm going to try and get my new phone tomorrow during the day. So we'll probably be fucking with that too. Okay. And I need to get Nate some, because he's growed out of all his clothes. He's just getting to be a big kid. And so I need to go and get him some like new shorts and new t-shirts and stuff like that for when it gets warmer outside. I'll be going through his clothes and trying to get rid of all the ones that don't fit. And so I just got a couple of errands and stuff that I want to run around and do. Yeah, I talked to her this morning. She got a new job that pays her like $60,000 a year. She's doing really good. She's going to actually come and stay with me. I'm going to pick a day and time for her to come out to Arkansas, and we're going to do some videos and stuff. It'll be fun. Can y'all see me okay? Where the hell's Luke at? Luke, you just called me, dude. Come on. Quit playing around. If for some in, we'll just do our own thing. But he should be coming in. I'm scared they want me to drug test at my new job. Do you know anything about that? I'm not sure if I should go forward with it because of the drug test. What drugs are you on, Robin? Are you on MAT? Is that why? Let me know if it's freezing. Let me go move the Wi-Fi thing to y'all. Hold on. Hey, Nate. Make sure you stay clear from this Wi-Fi box because for some reason it's freezing back there. I just want to make sure that there's nothing in front of that. Okay? Wrong. I can't figure out what it can be, so I think it might be that. You know what I'm saying? All right. Thanks, kid. All right. Let me know if that's better. I just moved the router thing. Okay. So whenever oh yeah, Robin, if you're on Suboxone, sweetheart, all you do is when you go to take the test, when you go to take your drug test, you take it, right? And on the drug test form, it'll ask you if you're prescribed any medications. You will write down what you're prescribed there. And they won't say nothing to you about the Suboxone. They'll see, oh, she has a prescription for the Suboxone. You put down the doctor that you get it from or whatever, and you're good to go. So no worries. What video quality is your stream set at? I have no idea. Let me look. Settings. 720p. Oh, hold on. No, that's not it. Let's do high definition. Okay. Tell me if that's better. What's this? A virtual background? Tell me if y'all can see this. Does this look good? How does this look, you guys? Does this look stupid? Welcome to my mansion, everyone. Welcome to my mansion. My name is Nicole. The thing is, Dr. Remekman, I don't take anything out of that, but the only reason I was asking, I should have said this, is my first comment. It's a delivery driver. Oh, okay. So I have never had problems with Suboxone in delivery driving. The only time that I've had problems with delivery driving and medication was methadone. Does it look good or does it look bad, you guys? This kind of looks neat. Okay, let's see what the other ones are, okay? Hold on. Virtual backgrounds. Oh, what's this one? That's like a blur. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to upload a background. So that way we can have like a cool background going on and have like, upload my own one though, and it'll be special. Yeah, you'll be okay. Don't worry. My husband was actually a driver for a place, or he wasn't a driver. He worked at this place that was called something plumbing. I can't remember, but they wanted to give him the delivery driver job, right? And he went to apply for it, and they denied him because he was on methadone. Okay, but he's never had problems on subs. Okay, Allison, that sounds good. So I don't know what's going on with Luke. I hope he's not gonna. Oh, he's coming. He said he's coming, y'all. Okay, cool. I think it'll be fun. Okay, so next week we have people that are set up to come tell their. So who has next week? What's next week? The 16th or something like that. Who's telling their story next week? Does anybody know? Allison, is it you? I can't remember. Allison or Kimmy. Or no, I can't remember. Y'all tell me who it is. Yeah, I'm not going to do my ball. I'm not going to balayage my hair. I'm going to leave it the natural color, you guys. Because I've worked so hard to get my hair. Allie, okay, cool. Yay, that's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time. Yeah, tomorrow is our members and patron live, you guys. So if you're in the members club or the Patreon, we are going live tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. I cannot wait to get my tooth so I can feel it back to myself again, you know? Yeah, I have to go shopping tomorrow for some food. So we'll just go together and pick something out to cook, you know? I actually did really good on that lemon pepper chicken. Everybody just bear with me. Luke's coming, okay? He's coming. He's just taking a sweet time. I'm going to have Sean on too soon, I think, to tell his other part 2 of his story. So he'll be coming on soon. I think I'm just going to place him in between the people who are already telling their stories. So tomorrow, you know what I want to do tomorrow? I want to make Alfredo, a homemade Alfredo, or I want to make homemade lasagna. That sounds so good to me right now. And so what we'll do is we'll make Nate. I should just go to Walmart tonight is what I should do and get it over with after this live stream. Because I live right across the street from Walmart. Basically, I turn right and then I drive like not even a mile, half a mile, and then Walmart's on the left. So, late night Walmart haul. So tomorrow is our members only live. I get my tooth tomorrow. Hopefully it's all situated. She had to shave these teeth to make more room. So it should click right in there perfectly. I know, right? I've been doing really good. I want to show y'all what I ordered on Sephora because we're going to be doing a new makeup look with the makeup I ordered. So a bunch of you guys sent me like $5, $20, not a bunch, but enough for me to order this makeup. It was probably like $170 that I got sent for my birthday. So I want to show you guys what I ordered and what we're going to do. So I ordered the Sephora. Oh, you can't see that because it's blurred. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay. I ordered the Sephora Collection Sheer Matte Lip Balm. The reason I ordered this is because Katie Jane Hughes said it's amazing, and she's like an amazing makeup artist. I ordered the Glow Screen by Supergoop, okay, which is like a sunscreen that is glowy. Okay, and I ordered, come on now. Okay. I ordered the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer because I really love the pot one, so I wanted to get that one. I ordered the Glossier Boy Brow in brown to see how that works. Fenty Beauty Matchstick in mocha. And then these two Rare Beauty blushes. So I'm excited to get those. That's going to be fun. You know, like the thing that's like really cool nowadays for girls is this like really pink blush. So I ordered those two blushes, but I want the e.l.f. one. Let me show you what e.l.f. has on their website, y'all. On their website, they have, oh, here it is right here. A really pretty, really pink blush. Okay. And it's the color is called Bora Bora. And look at how pink it is. So it's a putty blush. So I want to get that. Okay. Come on, man. I hate when people do this to me. Luke, quit being a buster and come on. Okay, so I'll just talk to you guys about my story, about some stories so that's what we're going to do tomorrow for the members and patrons only. How has everybody's week been going? I had a good week. Yesterday was my birthday. Like I said, I turned 41 years old. I didn't know or think I would ever make it to be 41. I thought I was going to die when I was in my active addiction, you guys. I really, really did. So I'm fucking grateful. Finally, motherfucker! Hey.
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Your hair looks so cute.
I know. I finally chopped that thing off.
Yes, you look adorable. I'm so happy to have you on, Luke. I cannot wait to hear about like how you became a drug addict and all that kind of stuff. So let me tell you a little bit about how we do it. So I just let you share with us and what I would like to know, because I do know that you're currently going through like a benzo taper and stuff. So yeah. I would love for you to share with us how you get into using drugs. Like, what happened when you were growing up as a kid? Did you have a good family upbringing? Were your parents married? Did they get divorced? What happened? Did you have any trauma?
Yeah.
Take us into how your drug addiction started and share with us about your drug addiction. But then I want to talk about what you're doing now and how you've gotten to where you're at today and what's going on with that benzo taper. So I'm just going to let you take over.
Okay. Definitely. Is my connection okay? Because the Wi-Fi is not working. I'm going just off my cellular right now.
You look great. Can everybody hear him good? I can hear you really good.
Okay, good. So I guess I can just start from the beginning. I've told my story a few times, like at meetings and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever told my full story on my YouTube channel, ironically enough. But I guess just a little bit about me. I was born in Sacramento, California in 1990. I'm 32 years old. My biological father was never a part of my life. My mom moved from California when I was 6 months old. Basically, you know, my mom was a hippie in the 80s and 90s, and so was my biological father. And I guess the story I was told that she caught him, you know, shooting up in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And she didn't want me to have that kind of life. So she moved from Sacramento. And most of my family's from Minnesota. So we moved back to Minnesota when I was about 6 months old. And the man I call my father, he basically started raising me when I was 6 months old. He was also a hippie. My mom was a hippie. They kind of met, they followed the Grateful Dead around. My dad went to over 300 Grateful Dead concerts.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's like, my dad's got, still to this day, he's got long hair, you know, smokes hella weed, acid, mushrooms and stuff like that. But my dad vehemently hates drugs. My stepdad, just for the sake of the story, I'll just call him my stepdad, but I call him my father. But he always was vehemently against drugs, and actually, like a few of his friends that he used to like go to the Grateful Dead with, like got into heroin, and he lost contact with them. And I remember as a kid, him specifically, or when I was a kid, him specifically saying like, yeah, one of my best friends, you know, he was just like, you know, just what's the word I'm looking for? He was just like, it just like really bothered him, and it really like bummed him out that his friends did that. But anyways, fast forward to when I was 8, my parents separated. My mom actually started doing heroin. She kind of turned from a hippie into a punk rocker in the 90s. And that kind of went hand in hand with punk rock back then. So she acquired a heroin habit. And actually her father was a heroin addict as well. My grandpa Jack, he was doing heroin all the way back to the 1970s. So I have heroin addiction going in my family dating back to the 1970s. And yeah, he was a rough, tough kind of Irish dude from St. Paul. He didn't know his father either, had a hard life, very poor. And, you know, it really affected my mom when she was a kid, because she told me stories like she would see blood splatter up on the walls. Sometimes they wouldn't have money for food. You know, he had points of success. He had a tire shop. He owned businesses and lost it. And then he would build it up and lose it, build it up and lose it. Very similar to my life when I started using drugs. But yeah, my mom wasn't really in the picture when I was a kid. She went to rehab, got clean, but even when she got clean, she just, you know, I don't know, she had a lot of damage to herself as a kid. So I don't think I don't think she could wrap her head around being a full-time mother. So basically my stepdad took custody of me and my younger brother, and we lived with him most of my life.
How did that make you feel not having your mom around, man?
It really hurt, you know, it really did. It just, because, you know, I didn't even know that my stepdad wasn't my real dad until I was like 10 years old. So then like kind of figuring all that stuff out when I was 10 was just like, okay, my mom's not here for me. I don't know my real dad. And now I'm, you know, with my stepdad, which is great. Like he was a great father, but, it's really hard for me to explain the feeling of it. Just like
It
made
probably
me
made you
kind of
feel like you weren't wanted, or weren't wanted by your mom, weren't wanted by your real dad, and so you're like basically just kind of like given to this guy. You know what I mean? I can imagine being at that young of an age as a 10-year-old. Like now, you know, it wasn't because you weren't wanted, but when you're 10 years old, you probably feel like, damn, my own mom doesn't want me, or something like that. You know?
Right. Yeah, it just kind of seemed like no one gave a fuck, you know, and you know, and as I got older, I would find these, like, I mean, you got to realize this was in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I would find these bags with these green leafy substances in them when I was a kid, and I didn't know what weed was when I was a kid, because like I was just an innocent kid back then, you know, like I didn't even know what it was. But I knew it was something wrong. I knew it was something bad. And I mean, eventually, and I just remember being a kid, like there was always people coming in and out of my house, in and out of my house. And I wonder, like, why is there so many? And it was really awkward too, because like the people that would come over would like see us kids, and they'd be like, they'd kind of try to act like nothing was going on. But like, even at a young age, I could sense the bullshit. I'm like, why is this dude being extra overly nice to me? But I think they kind of like felt weird buying drugs when there was kids around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I dealt, you know, that went on my whole childhood, basically. I got into skateboarding at a really young age. Like when I would get into things, I would cling on to them because it was a way for me to escape my home life. There's a lot of arguing. There's a lot of yelling. My dad's brother moved in at one point, and there was like just a lot of negativity, yelling, fighting. And you know, quietly as it's kept, I really hated my life, you know, because when I was like 11 years old, 10 years old we moved to a city called Minnetonka, Minnesota. It's probably the richest, yeah, probably the richest city per capita in Minnesota. It's on Lake Minnetonka. The Prince lived right near Lake Minnetonka, the artist or whatever. Um, and like we were definitely like the oddballs of the neighborhood, you know, because like there was always just like cars coming in and out of her house, like, you know, sometimes we had a lot of money, sometimes we didn't. We were kind of like hood rich, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. You know,
Yeah.
like it really just depended on what kind of stuff my dad was moving at the time, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said though, I really gravitated towards skateboarding. I got really good at it at a young age, and it was something positive I could hold on to. And I was in competitions for skateboarding. I was really into filming. My dad bought me a really nice camera when I was like 14, so I would film myself snowboarding and skateboarding. That's how I started editing videos. That's why I still love making YouTube videos, because I've
That's
always loved.
cool.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
did you stick with that all through your like when you were younger, and then you got on drugs and that kind of went to the wayside, huh?
Yeah, well, like, so I'd say when I was 15, almost 16, I was still skateboarding, but like, you know, obviously I started getting into girls, you know what I mean? Like I started like being like, hey, like I want to hang out with women, I want to hang out with girls, like I want to see, cuz like when I started skateboarding, by this time my mom was back in my life, and you know, she lived in the inner city and my dad lived in the suburbs. So like I had friends from the inner city, I had friends from the suburbs. When I was skateboarding, I was hanging out with like dudes from the hood. Like dude, like I'm when I was like 14 years old, when I first started smoking weed, like I was in a car when some dudes did a drive-by, and like I was hanging out with really bad people and shit like that. Um and but when I was like 15 or 16, I started hanging out with my friends from the suburbs. So I pretty much just overnight gave up skateboarding, quit playing video games, and I was smoking weed. So I was pinching weed from my dad, because I would go
Oh,
downstairs and he would have like pillowcases full of weed. And like I would literally just take like huge handfuls. Like I'd take like 3 handfuls like maybe every week. And that was like, and you know, back then an ounce of good weed was going for like $400, 370
yeah.
bucks. So I started stealing weed from my dad and selling it, and I saved up $1,000, I remember, and then I got my own plug and I bought a QP myself, and I basically just put everything else on the wayside, and like I just became 100% focused on, okay, I'm gonna, like I just became addicted to selling drugs, because like I didn't have all the nice shit that like my friends did. Like my friends, like it wasn't uncommon for like people in my high school to get $70,000 cars for their first car and shit like that. Like my dad was like, I'm gonna buy you one car. It's gonna be a $5,000, and it was a $5,000 Cadillac Eldorado, 1998
That's how my first car
Eldorado.
too. Me in 1982 Cresta.
I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Shit. Can you hear me? I can't hear you, Nicole.
On. Hey, are you in front of that thing?
What'd you say? I can't hear you still. You're breaking up. You're like in and out.
Hold on. It's not your fault.
I have all this like shampoo all over me. Dry shampoo.
I'm literally by the thing, y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Your picture is completely frozen. Oh, I guess it's just me, you guys. I know, you guys. I got all that dry shampoo. I'm not like a crackhead or anything. I put dry shampoo on my little my miniature schnauzer.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit. A little bit better.
Okay, I'm literally sitting right here. It's raining here, so for some reason I drop out. Okay, because you're doing a great job. Keep telling your story, okay?
Oh, you're kind of back. You're getting better. Okay.
Okay.
So, like I said, now we're in high school. We're in 10th grade. You know, friends are getting their license. And I smoked a little bit freshman year, but it was just kind of here and there. I was still kind of skateboarding, playing video games, still doing like kid stuff, you know.
Come on, Wi-Fi. Man, I'm so mad.
All right, is our power gonna go?
I don't know what's going on. I think it's from the rain.
Okay. Well, I turned my Wi-Fi on. Oh, we're good now. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So like 10th grade came around, like the little kid shit was done. Like looking back on it now, it's crazy. Like I literally lived like I was an adult when I was 16. Like I was drinking consistently, like well, not really daily, but like I was getting blackout drunk pretty much every weekend, selling a lot of weed. And I really, looking back on it, like I depended on that my identity as someone from selling weed, because it took that like not incompetence, but what's the word, like inferiority complex away from me as a kid, you know, because like looking back on it, like I was just a really self-conscious kid, you know what I mean? Like I always compared myself to others. Like I always like you know,
I did the same thing. I had low self-esteem
from where I came from, you know what I mean? Because like literally like kids I went to school with, their parents were CEOs of like General Mills or like the Target Corporation. Like General Mills and Target are from Minnesota, and like or like whatever the case may be. Like this dude's family owns a car dealership. And my friend Tommy, I got to be best friends with this kid named Tommy growing up, and like he came from a rich family. They're Italians, and he got me into like, oh shit, she's gone.
I'm not.
You're back. You're echoing though. Your video is good now, Nicole.
Yeah, I know. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to take this. Hold on.
Is your laptop on or something?
Yeah, that's what I need to do. Okay, hold on. Leave. Okay. Is that better?
Yup, you're good.
Hell yeah. I had to get myself changed over to this phone and just do it like this because I don't want to miss your story and I don't want it to fuck up. So I want to keep going. And so, you know, it was doing so bad. Am I echoing still?
Nope, you're perfect.
All right. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go right ahead.
Oh, you're good. So yeah, basically, like I said, like, you know, the weed thing, it was, you know, I made a lot of money during high school, but then there was times where it kind of slowed down, you know, like when I remember like whatever, like I maybe like one of my plugs didn't sell anymore, or I got busted. So there was times where it was like, sometimes I'd have a really good plug and I was making all this money, and I was basically surviving off pure ego. Like I had no self-confidence. The only confidence I had was because I was a drug dealer, you know? And I think when like my plug ran out and like, or like people started going to college and I didn't have as many, you know, people to sell to, I really started feeling like shit about myself, you know? So I started, well, I did cocaine a couple times when I was like 16. Never got too big into it in high school. But I remember specifically when I was 17, I tried Xanax for the first time. And I remember like just feeling like, oh my God, like it was just like this relief. It was like this weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I was just like, this is the freaking answer. Like, this is it. Like, this is what I've been missing, you know? And for a couple years after that, I just chased Xanax. I would get Xanax as much as I could. I'd drink and take Xanax and black out, you know, wake up with freaking money I didn't know how I got, sunglasses, weird shit in my pockets, broken nose, like all sorts of crazy shit. And, you know, also a lot of cocaine during that time. Like I was still kind of like in my like drug abusing stage where I was just drinking a lot on the weekends, doing Xanax. And I kind of used it as a thing, like, you know, because I was kind of a shy kid when I was younger, like as far as girls went. Like I didn't have a girlfriend in high school really. Well, I did at the end of high school, but I kind of used drugs as a crutch to overcome my fear of women. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
So I did that for a while. But then it kind of just became like I needed it just to function in everyday life. But as I took Xanax more and more, I never got physically addicted to it when I was younger. I was mostly just a binge user. I'd binge for like 2 or 3 days and then stop for a while, binge for 2 or 3 days, stop for a while, maybe do cocaine or stuff like that. But then when I was 20 years old, I actually started getting back, and I found a connection from California that was mailing me weed or whatever.
Mailing
And,
it?
what'd you say?
Mailing it?
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting it sent in United States Postal Service.
Oh my
And,
God.
yeah, dumbass, so dumb. And so, like, I was back into that. I was kind of living off that. And I kind of had this circle of people because, like, I was getting a pretty big quantity at a time. So, like, I had people that were basically selling for me. And in this little circle of friends, this was around 2010. And this is kind of like, I'd say probably the beginning of the opioid epidemic. Where at least this is when kids from the suburbs started doing heroin, because, like, before that, you got to realize, like, in the 90s, early 2000s, like, kids from the suburbs weren't really doing heroin like that. Maybe like a couple, but around 2010, like, it became like a lot of kids from the suburbs started doing it. And
That's how it was here too. Like you couldn't find heroin in Arkansas until like 2010, 2007 or something like that. Like it wasn't a thing. It was Roxy's. Everybody was doing Roxy's.
you know what's funny, actually? I went to treatment in 2009. I got a DUI in 2009. This is before I did heroin. But I went to this treatment center. Sure enough, there was a kid from Arkansas that was there for Roxy's.
Yeah.
You might even know the kid's name. Fuck, I can't remember his name. No, he's from Little Rock, though.
I live in Little Rock.
Okay, damn. He was this, like, kind of rich kid, like, kind of spoiled rich kid from Arkansas. I freaking forget. I'd have to call my buddy Trevor. He'd remember his name. But anyways, just a little coincidence there.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota, actually, if you didn't know, like, Minnesota, other than Florida and California, I think Minnesota has the most treatment centers. Like there's the Hazleton, Betty Ford, and like there's a lot of really, like, if you get sent like to a state facility in Minnesota, like they're all very nice facilities. Like the state will pay for you to go to like a $30,000 treatment here. So like,
Oh wow.
anyways, just a little side note. But anyways, so I had this group of friends I was selling weed with, like a lot of kids I went to high school with, some kids I used to skateboard with, and then just random street people that I met along the way or whatever. And like I said, heroin started getting really big. And, you know, I remember just thinking like, wow, this is like not, why are people doing this shit? I remember even being kind of snobby about it. Like, you guys are doing that shit? Like, that's whack as fuck. Like,
Hell yeah. I
why
was the same way. I was scared of it. I thought it was nasty, like for nasty people. You know what I mean? Like crack almost.
For real. But I had done Percocets before prior, and like I remember kind of liking the feeling of it a little bit. Like I remember like thinking like, damn, this really like takes away all my anxiety. You know, I remember it kind of having that in the back of my mind. And the first time I tried it, was with my buddy, and I did a line of China White in the Taco Bell parking lot in my hometown, and like I puked my ass off for like 10 hours. But like, even though I was sick, even though I was puking, like I had this sense of relief, and I was just like, oh, I was like, and I just like, after that moment, I was like, wow, that's freaking, like, that felt amazing. But I didn't start using it right away. What I started doing actually was, so many people were doing it in my area. I knew this kid I went to treatment with, and he had this, like, he knew these Mexicans basically that sold black tar, and they would sell these little multicolored balloon things, and you would call them. It was this, there was Jaime, Carlos, and I forget the other one, but they all got federally indicted eventually. But basically, you would call them. It was like a dispatch number, and then like an illegal immigrant would say, they would call, you would call them, and they'd be like, okay, meet me on 24th and Aldrich, and then you'd go to some random street. You'd wait for like 20 minutes. All of a sudden, they would call you. They say, all right, buddy, I'm here, and then you would just follow the car a couple blocks, get out. The dude would spit the balloon out of his mouth, and like there'd be a cup of water there, so in case they got busted, they could just swallow the balloons. And I started selling it, you know, but I didn't want to do it because I knew there was a potential for addiction. But anyways, so one day some dude came over to my house to buy like whatever, some small amount, like probably like a half gram or something like that. And he's like, hey, you mind if I smoke here real quick? And he like whips out his tin foil and like, you know, does the little chase the dragon. And I was just like, damn. And I didn't know you could smoke it. Like, cause I had only tried snorting it that one time. And it, for some reason, it looked a lot more innocent. I don't know why. And he's like, it's just like opium, bro. And I was like, really? And cause I had tried opium before, the red, what is that? Red Rock opium or something like that. And I, you know, like the feeling of Percocets. I like the feeling of that. And he's like, yeah, it's just like that, man. So I tried that. Boom. Didn't puke. Didn't feel like shit. Felt amazing. And it was a wrap. It was a wrap after that. I was hooked. And yeah, so basically I kept selling weed. I kept selling this stuff. I had more money than I knew what to do with. And, you know, like I just kept smoking that stuff. And then eventually those Mexicans ended up getting busted. And that was, so, oh yeah, another thing. So yeah, I was getting it from the Mexicans for really cheap, for like $50 a gram. And I would sell it in the suburbs for like $150, $200 a gram. And then eventually they got federally indicted. So I no longer had that number anymore. So basically, you know, I wasn't picking up that much. I was picking up like anywhere from 7 grams to 14 grams at a time. I wasn't some huge kingpin or anything like that. I was basically just doing it. Well, in the beginning, I was doing it. I made a lot of money, but eventually it was just because to support my habit or whatever. But yeah, I remember like just having it run out, and like all of a sudden I felt really sick, and I was like scraping my old tinfoils, like trying to like get a hit, and all of a sudden I felt super sick, and I was just like, what the, you know, like this is crazy, you know?
You didn't know you were having withdrawal. That's how I was. I didn't even know what withdrawal was. I was like, what is going on? Why do I feel like this? And then I took did some dope, and I felt better. And that's when it clicked. Like, I'm going through withdrawal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, same thing with me. Like, I mean, I knew what withdrawal was, but like I didn't put 2 and 2 together really. Like I was just kind of like, because I didn't know like how long does it take to get into withdrawal. Like I thought like, oh, you got to be doing that shit for months to go into withdrawal. But come to find out, no, you can go into withdrawal just after a week or a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So anyways, the black tar thing kind of discontinued. I kind of like stopped on my own because, like, you know, when you first go through withdrawals, at least for me, like I was a lot tougher about it back then because like
I was too.
It was what it was, you know, and my receptors weren't all strung out, and I hadn't had a history with opiates, so I was able to kick it pretty easily, and I was just smoking it at the time. But anyways, what ended up happening was I quit that for a while. I was still selling the weed, and so I can't remember what happened first, the bust or me. No, yeah. So then I quit halfway through the summer, and then into the winter time, I like asked my buddy. I was like my buddy who introduced it to me originally. That was my best friend I grew up with since I was like 7 years old. And I was like, hey, I was like, do you know where to get any more of that stuff you gave me that one time? He gave me this dude's number, and I met him in this little seedy bar in the ghetto. And so I formed a relationship with this other dude, but this was a black street gang. This dude was a vice lord from I probably shouldn't have said that, but this happened 10 years
You're
ago.
okay. Yeah,
So
you can
it's
say
whatever.
whatever you want on my channel. You can cuss. You can tell us anything you want to tell us. Well, I do want to ask you one question, though. When you shot up heroin for the first time, like for me, when I shot up drugs for the first time, it was like a totally different experience than snorting them or smoking them or anything like that. It was like, it was so euphoric. And I try to explain it to people. So can you tell us like what your experience was like when you first injected drugs compared to using them nasally or smoking them?
Yeah. So I remember. So yeah, I was about to get to that. So
Okay, cool.
So basically, like, I started doing this China White or whatever, but like I wasn't getting it for these crazy good prices like I was before. Like I was paying 150 a gram, and yeah, it was really good, pure. It was like white, it was like gray rock, this shit I was getting, but it was really expensive. So like the most I could really make off of it, like I would sell it for $200. So I was only making $50 off of a gram. So I wasn't really making that much off of it. But anyways, I ended up getting busted for this weed stuff. So basically what happened is a package was scheduled to be delivered. I had one of my other best friends that I grew up skateboarding with. His family, very rich family. He's from Minneapolis actually, but he lived in a rich part of Minneapolis. His mom was a lawyer, dad was a psychologist, and his dad was a psychologist that worked from his own home. And basically his parents were out of town, and I met another dude who was getting stuff shipped in from California. He came to the house to drop me off a couple pounds, and he noticed that the parents were out of town. So he says, hey, can we get some stuff shipped here? And I was kind of skeptical about it at first, but my buddy was like, he's like, yeah, let's do it. And because he offered us a bunch of money or whatever. So anyways, long story short, we get the stuff. There's a big hole in the package. We throw it in the car. The dude who we got it from was like, dude, they poked through the package. He said, they're coming. They're going to come at any minute. And I was like, what? I was like, why are they coming? They're not going to come. So we ended up running out the house, going to his car. I left some of my weed there, and we left. Literally took a left out of the alley and looked right, and there was like 10 drug task force cars coming to raid the house. So we got out, and literally, like, if we would have left 30 seconds later, we would have got busted. So anyways, I end up getting charged eventually for the weed thing, and my money started kind of running low eventually, because now I don't have the black tar, I don't have the weed income, and I'm sure as fuck not working, I can tell you that much. And so, you know, I had a good chunk of change. I think at my peak I had like 13,000, maybe 14,000 saved up. And I just remember, like, you know, I was still selling weed a little bit, but I didn't have like these great plugs where I was making crazy money. So I just remember my money dwindling and dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. And eventually I remember one day, like, me and this kid go to pick up one time, and he pulls out a rig or whatever. And he's like, you ever shot up before? And I was like, nah. I was like, dude, I don't fuck with needles, bro. And he's like, and I didn't have a lot to last me that day. And he's like, well, dude, if you do this, you're gonna sit. He's like, you're wasting so much shit by smoking it or snorting it. He's like, why the fuck are
Amen,
you
brother. That's exactly what I say too. You're wasting it. You're wasting too much.
Yeah. So it took me about like a year and some change until I actually shot up. But I remember, man, when I freaking shot up, dude, it was like God himself came down and gave me a big, gigantic hug. And I was like, oh man, like when I said the Xanax stuff, when I did Xanax, I thought, oh my gosh, I've arrived. This is the best. That had nothing on this. This was
Right.
like the alpha omega. This was like, and when it got to that point, like I was just, that was basically the moment where I turned into a straight up just junkie. Like I was no longer a plug. I was no longer the dude or whatever the fuck I thought I was. Like I was just a straight up junkie at that point. And
Yep, me too.
I did all that. I burned all that money. You know, I started resorting. I remember, and I had a Lexus, you know, from selling drugs and stuff like that. And I had a really nice speaker system. I remember the first thing I pawned was my speakers in my car. And then it was a TV, and then it was an Xbox, and then it was stealing money from my dad, and then it was stealing weed from my dad. Then it was ripping this person off, ripping that person off, because I was so scared to go into withdrawals, you know, because now at this point I'm well versed into going into withdrawals, and I'm avoiding it like the plague, you know. So I was just going all in basically. Eventually I went to treatment, cleaned up for a little bit, and that's when I got on methadone for the first time when I was 22 about. So I was 22, went to treatment, got on methadone. I'd say I stayed clean for about a year. When I stayed clean for a year, I ran into this girl that went to my high school at the methadone clinic, and she had just got an inheritance for like $3.5 million. Well,
Oh shit!
that girl ended up becoming my girlfriend.
I bet she did.
I mean, shit, it was gonna happen one way or another. And that was really when I experienced what it's like to do drugs with no abandon, no regard for money. I mean, it wasn't my money, but I just remember like going to the ATM every day and like her hitting the max balance, because she would hit that max every day. Like $800 was her max, I'm pretty sure. And I remember like sometimes running out of that in one day, like because we were smoking crack, we were doing heroin, and we were doing a little bit of meth. Hadn't quite taken off to where it is now. I mean, now it's just everywhere. It's $10 a gram. Back then, meth was like $100 a gram. You know, it was hard to find. So like crack was kind of the more prevalent. Like most heroin addicts did crack back then. So I remember we did a lot. We were smoking a lot of crack, doing stuff like that, and like, man, I freaking felt so empty. Like I can't even describe it. Just like, you know, every single day was just dedicated to like using as much as possible. And eventually, you know, the girl basically wised up and was like, okay, like you're just using me for my money, you know, and like she has all this money. Like, why does she, you know, like I think eventually she was spending so much that she was just like, I can't support two people. And then I don't know. And then it just, I was kind of just over it anyways. Like I hated my life so bad. So I went to treatment again. But I mean, to break it down, like my 20s consisted of going to treatment, jail, overdosing, treatment, jail, overdosing, prison. And so I was on probation for that weed case. You know, I pled out. I was on probation. They gave me 5 years probation.
Yeah.
And, you know, did that or whatever. Had a couple violations. Went to prison a couple times on violations. And then a few years down the line, I started buying Xanax online. So I started buying Xanax on the dark web. I was getting them extremely cheap, and I was selling them that way. Well, my mom's house eventually ended up getting raided. They didn't find anything. And I had a different house where I was keeping my stuff. And one day when I was leaving this stash house that I had, I got pulled over as soon as I left, and they caught me with 870 Xanax bars. And
Damn.
Yeah. And I ended up going to prison for that.
Damn, that's a lot of Xanax, man. I was a glutton on them Xanaxes. I love them bitches.
Yeah.
They fucking got me in trouble so much.
Yeah, my first offer was 123 months in prison for that case.
What was it like for you in prison? When I went to prison, it was on a probation violation, and I just stuck to myself, fucking kept it moving, and nobody fucked with me. It was just like it is what it was. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's how it was for me too at first. Like, cause like when I was going on those violations, like I was just going to like minimum security prisons. Like I went to when I violated my first time, I would just go to, well, actually, no, I take that back. I would go to I would just violate and they would send me to the reception center, which is St. Cloud in Minnesota. So I went to St. Cloud a couple times, but when I got this new case, I got sentenced. They gave me 24 months. With good time, you only do 16 months. So I basically was looking at doing 16 months. And I go to St. Cloud, I go to reception, and then they tell me I'm going to a medium. I'm going to Faribault. So that's like a little bit more of a big boy camp. You know, there's a lot of gangs, there's a lot of violence. But it's still, Faribault wasn't too bad. But I get to Faribault and I basically link up with like white dudes. You know what I mean? There's no Aryan Brotherhood. There's nothing like that here, but there kind of is. It's called Asatru. And Asatru is like a Nordic religion, and a lot of white people kind of fall under this Asatru thing in Minnesota. So I kind of started linking up with these dudes, and one of my cellmates, he was like this dude named Curtis. He was like 40 years old, and he was selling Suboxone at Faribault. So like I was just young, trying to impress people, trying to be cool, still thinking like a criminal, you know what I mean? So like I held on to these. He was kind of like letting me sell these Suboxones, but I kind of had to hold them down for him, you know what I mean? And like looking back on it, like he was just straight up using me, you know what I mean? Like straight up, like he was just using me. Long story short, I ended up getting caught with these Suboxones in the prison. They were going to charge me with an outside charge, but I ended up just getting shipped to Stillwater, which is a maximum security prison. And when I got to Stillwater, it was it was a wide awakening, man. Like when I remember like, cause the first like week you're there, you're in like a segregation unit. You're and Stillwater is like old school. It's like bars. It's like Shawshank Redemption style jail. And I remember this like porter came by me. And he's like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, yeah, by the way, like everyone's checked out your paperwork and like, we know you're good, blah, blah, blah. Check in with homeboy, you know, at the cafeteria when you get here. So I was like, what? Like you already knew I was here? What the fuck? And like, I was in there with lifers, people doing 20 years, 30 years. Long story short, I get to general population and they kind of put me on some shit like either you're going to rock with us, put in some work, or you're going to be a lone wolf. And at first I was like, no, I'm not joining the gang. Fuck F that shit. You know, like I'm not doing that at all. And when I turned him down, the next day, 2 Native Americans approached me because like Native Americans run the prisons in Minnesota, like straight up, like, cause there's so many reservations in Minnesota. And they just dominate the prison population. So like I got extorted by 2 Native Americans the next day. Well, they attempted to extort me and they wrote me a list of like commissary shit. And they're like, yeah, man, you can either do this or send me a green dot. And I was like, what the fuck? And I knew I wasn't trying to do that. So then I go back to the white dudes and I'm like, shit, all right, you guys, like, I'm ready to rock. I was like, I'm just not trying to stab anyone, da, da, da. They're like, you ain't got to do that. So they made me put, you know, a couple, like, I remember like, I think 3 months in, some dude came, it's like some high profile case dude came in who like, you know, I don't want to say it, but like did some shit to some kids. And basically this dude, the head basically sent us on this dude and like we had to beat him up and shit. And like, I'm not a violent dude. Like when I was selling drugs, like I never had a gun. I never had a knife. I never had any of that shit. But like, I remember even though the dude was a scumbag, like I still felt like shit about it.
Well, yeah. I don't like fighting either. It's just not my thing. You know what I'm saying? Some people, that doesn't bother them, but I just don't like it in general. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't either, man. I don't, you know? it's not who and like people spotted me from a mile away. Like they knew I was green. They knew I was from the suburbs. Like I had a lot of money coming in from the streets. So like I was kind of like buying people's friendships in a way. And like I wasn't being true to myself. You know, I was still living this like gangster lifestyle, even though like, you know, I'm a kid from the suburbs, man. I'm not really like super about that life. I mean, I'm not a bitch either, but like I'm not some hardened criminal. Like, but at that point, like I was dedicated to that lifestyle. So what ended up happening, like kind of near the end of my bid, is like they wanted me to stab someone, and they were basically saying if you don't stab someone, like you're gonna get stabbed. So what I ended up doing is like I ended up saying like, listen, dude, I only have 6 months left on my sentence. Like, I will just pay you guys if I can't do this shit. Can you guys just leave me alone for the rest of my sentence? So I ended up green dotting some dude like $1,000, and kind of like I was kind of looked at as like a bitch for the rest of my sentence. And then I just left, and then I paroled, and then I left prison.
See, but here's the thing. It's like, oh, well, if they thought you were a bitch, because here's the thing. Like, that shit's not going to, taking that shit out of prison, like, oh, well, who gives a fuck if you were respected in prison?
Right.
Out here in the real world, motherfuckers, that shit don't matter. You know,
Right.
like, this is the real world where going to prison and being hard and being a gangster is not cool. What's cool is being sober, taking care of your responsibilities, having nice things, being able to buy your own ride, have your own house. That's what's cool and respectful, you know?
No, most definitely. Most definitely. And no, it's just looking back on it, it was a weird dynamic, because it was like on one hand, I was trying to impress people, but on another hand, like I kind of just was like, looked at it as like, dude, I would never hang out with any of you guys in real life. Like people in there that are like big shots in prison, like they're nothing on the streets. They're just bums. They're homeless. They're junkies, whatever. So it was just kind of whatever to me. And then after I got out of prison, like my addiction just got so much worse. Like I was in and out of rehabs, and like, you know, I'd like to say the rehabs helped me, but like I ended up just meeting people who like showed me how, like I remember like in rehab, a dude showed me how to like break down crack and shoot it up. And I shot up crack for the first time. And just shit like that. You know what I mean? And like, just as the years progress, like, you know, that line of like, oh, I'll never do that. Ended up always getting crossed. It was like, oh, I'll never shoot up. Then I end up shooting up. Oh, I'll never smoke crack and do heroin at the same time. Then I end up doing that. Oh, I'll never do meth. Then I ended up doing meth when I was 23. And my addiction got so much less glamorous over the years. Like it really just became like the social aspects got smaller and smaller, and the selling got smaller and smaller. And it just became about getting the drug. And like near like the end of my addiction, I'd say even the last 4 or 5 years, like I didn't even like being around people. Like I just wanted to get my drugs and be alone, and go to work, get my drugs, and just be left alone, you know? And I ended up, you know, luckily I ended up, you know, learning a trade. I'm a construction worker. That's what I do. But, you know, so I don't know. What I'm trying to say is basically like I was using a lot, but like I would use for like 6 months, get clean for 6 months or 3 months or whatever it was. And in those times when I was sober, like I really focused on like fitness, working out. Like I learned how to build retaining walls, paver patios, rock walls, and I got really good at that. So, you know, I don't want to say I messed up all my life, because I did. Like the times when I was sober, like I've always like really tried my hardest to like better myself in life. But every time I'd go back to using, it would get worse and it would get worse, and it became more lonely. Like lonely would be the best word to describe it, because it was like all my true friends and like my family members, like I missed out on so many years of like good times with my family, and like spending, like growing up with the, you know, like hanging out with the kids I grew up with. And it's like now I want to rekindle those relationships. But the sad thing is like they have families, they've moved on, and here I am 32 still trying to get my life together. You know what I mean?
Damn, I
So
know what
it's
you're talking
just,
about. I know what you're talking about. And all of my real true friends, they ditched me because they couldn't watch me kill myself anymore. They got sad. They started feeling bad for me and shit. Like, damn, she's really fucking her life up, you know?
yeah,
And you're like, seeing everybody else become doctors and lawyers and pharmacists and cops and all these good jobs. And I'm just like
right.
working at Sonic or some shit, you know? It's fucking humiliating, embarrassing, you know?
Yeah,
And then it became like not cool. It's almost like I just didn't care about myself at all anymore. And I didn't want to use around people at all during the end either. It was just me and my husband, and we were just miserable. And we were so depressed because we knew that we had so much potential and we were smart and we were good people, you know, but we just didn't know
right.
how to get sober and stay sober.
Yep. No, that's exactly right. And it's like looking back on it, like, you know, and I forgot to mention too, like I did, so the longest stint of sobriety I had, like when I was 25, I ended up, or 26 maybe, I think it was 26. I ended up moving down to Florida. Or I went to rehab in Florida. And basically that was like a year after I got out of, like a year and a half after I got out of prison. And like my addiction had gotten so bad that like my family eventually was just like, got me a plane ticket, set me up with a rehab, and they're like, we are not dealing with your shit anymore. Like, you're going down to Florida to figure your shit out, and you're not coming back. You're not welcome at my house. You're not welcome at my house. So I go down to Florida, and like I had to kick because like I was doing heroin, but I was also kind of shuffling back and forth between Suboxone and heroin. So when I went to rehab down there, they weren't doing Suboxone back then. Like you had to do a 14-day detox, and by the time you hit treatment, you had to be sober. So like I had been doing dope for so long, I get there and like it's all these young kids, they're like 20, 19, 21, and I'm like 26 at this point. I'd been doing dope for 6 years. And like all these kids, it's like their first rehab, and like they're like not even dope sick because they barely had a habit. And I just felt again so alone. And I remember it taking me like 6 months, 6 months of being off Suboxone and heroin until I finally felt normal. But I eventually found a groove down there. I started working out. I got a good job. I started really, doing stuff for myself, like I got an apartment, like a really nice apartment. That was my second apartment I got on my own. But like I actually, for the first time, had money. I had a nice place to live. And, I was going to meetings, doing stuff like that. But eventually I kind of started getting complacent, and I started doing like addict behavior. And I remember it started with going to strip clubs. Cause like I never had legit money. I never had like done, and like it like the straight life kind of became boring to me. And like I started like looking for weird things to do. And then eventually I started drinking. And then I remember my friend Susie invited me to a kava bar, which is like a place where you drink kratom and kava mixed together.
Yeah, I know what kava is, and it doesn't it give you kind of like a little feeling.
It's like kind of like a herbal benzo,
Yeah.
whereas kratom's like an herbal opiate.
Okay.
But and this is why I warn people, like I'm not against kratom. I think it can be used for good. But for me, I was 2 years clean off opiates. And when I did kratom, it like reignited my opiate receptors, and like I was craving the real thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And in Florida, there's no real heroin in Florida. Like this was 2016. So in Minnesota, there was still real heroin. But in Florida, there was no real heroin. So when I ended up relapsing in Florida, I was doing a lot of crack, doing a lot of heroin. And I remember my girlfriend in Florida at the time wanted me to go to a meeting. And I was like, I had done like probably a gram or more of crack that day. And I was like all twacked out. So I went to go get a little capsule of fentanyl. And, you know, usually I was just doing like a half a capsule or a quarter of a capsule, but I figured since I was on crack, I could probably handle a full capsule. Well, I ended up crashing my car, totaling it, losing my car, losing my girlfriend, losing my apartment, and I had to go back to Minnesota. And you know, and I moved back to Minnesota 2017. And it's been a super big struggle ever since 2017, you know, in and out of rehabs. I got really into meth when I moved back to Minnesota, psychosis, ended up in the psych ward more times than I can even list, ended up in treatments, you know, just it was like, that was literally the lowest point of my addiction. Like there was no glamour left. It was just complete darkness, complete hopelessness. Just like, I just gave up on life. Like I straight up just gave up. Like I was just like, dude, like there's, because when I ended up getting a DUI, I was up for 4 nights on meth, and I took some research chemical benzos that I bought online, and I ended up blacking out and crashing my car, getting a DUI. So when I lost my license, I was like, there's my independence. There's my, you know, everything. And I when I lost my license, I literally just gave up until about March of this year. And what ended up getting me clean this time was I went to school this year. Oh, last year, 2022. I got a bunch of money from my student loans or whatever. And before that, I got really into cocaine and fentanyl, like speedballs. So I ended up burning through all that money, and I remember I had no money left, but I would save these cottons from the speedballs I did. And I did a cotton rinse, and I remember getting like the worst cotton fever. And if you guys don't know what cotton fever is, it's basically like a bacterial infection from injecting drugs. Like if you use an old cotton, or there's just bacteria in the dope, or you didn't clean your spoon, you didn't clean your needle, or whatever it is. And I had gotten cotton fever before, but it was never this bad. Like it was so bad. Like my heart was going like this. I was sweating. I was like shaking, almost damn near convulsing. And I knew of people who had gotten heart valve infections before. And that was the first thing on my mind. I was like, dude, I do not want to get a heart valve infection and have a pacemaker for the rest of my life or die. So I went straight to the hospital. Look, I'm so happy that I had that information. And that's why, like, my YouTube channel, I stress harm reduction so much, because if I hadn't been informed of all this stuff, like I could easily be dead, have some crazy ass disease, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, basically what happened is, sorry, I'm losing my voice, but
no, you're fine. I'm just going through my son's clothes while I talk to you, because it's like I have to, because he's gotten so big, he threw out of everything.
Really? But yeah, no, my blood was septic in the hospital, and like the doctor was like, she was like, you literally don't know how lucky you are. Like she's like, you should, like, they had me on IV antibiotics for like a week and a half, and she's like, you don't know how freaking lucky you are. Like, you're lucky you came to the hospital right away. So that was
I
like
had cotton fever one time, and I actually went crazy. It wasn't from the cotton fever, but it was like I had been up for so many days, and they actually found me walking down the street at like 3:00 in the morning. And I went into the hospital, and they shot me up with Thorazine and Halidol, and they did it twice. And I actually went into a coma because my internal organs were fucking shutting down.
Wow.
So I know all about, I felt like shit. I had a fever and everything. It was really scary, honestly.
Yeah, dude, that shit, literally, I know a handful of people who have gotten it, and it will cause permanent heart problems. So if anyone's listening and you're still using, you know, like, I'm not arrogant enough, and I don't think Nicole's arrogant enough to think either one of us can single-handedly stop you from using. But like, if you are using, like, just be sure to use a clean needle, clean your equipment, do whatever it takes. Don't ever do a cotton rinse, ever. It's not worth it. it's not even going to really take you out of withdrawal really anyways. And just do not do it. That's that's my biggest suggestion to anyone. And just be careful, like if you are using, start small. Don't just do a freaking huge shot or smoke a bunch all at once. Like especially nowadays with fentanyl, like I would never just shoot up some random stuff I got on the street. Like,
No.
be very careful if anyone's listening.
It's not like it was back in the day. I am scared shitless.
Yeah.
Like that day, I had actually ordered some shoes off Poshmark. Some of y'all saw that. And they sent me the shoes, but somebody had put meth in the shoe in a baggie.
I saw that. That's
like
crazy.
That really happened. That was organic. I didn't set it up, nothing. And for a split second, I thought I could shoot this up and no one would know. And then my husband called me and he goes, what if it has fentanyl in it and I come home and you die? And I was like, you're right. Like, there's no like accidentally slipping up or doing something. Like the possibility of you doing something and dying is like 100% now, There's no room for error.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying there's no room for like mistakes. Like we could actually relapse and go to treatment and get better. Like now, if you relapse, you could die.
Right. Exactly. It's crazy. Like, I know from what I've heard, like a lot of people are telling me like a good portion of the meth has fentanyl in Minnesota in it. Like people will just be smoking it and like not like, this dude I know, this dude who used to live at my dad's house, he like smoked a couple bubbles and just woke up and he was like and crashed his car. Like he just was like, and it had fentanyl in it, I guess, and he got a DUI. So it's freaking everywhere, man. It doesn't discriminate, and this isn't the kind of game anymore where you can just be safe and like, oh, I'm just gonna do a little bit. Like it really. And I tell people to be careful when you do it because like there still are ways you can be a little bit safer, but like there really is no safe way to use hard drugs in 2023. Right. There really isn't. There unless you're like in Colombia or like whatever, unless you know the manufacturer. But like my girlfriend, 2 friends of hers just died 3 months ago. Like they don't do meth, they don't do heroin. This was from cocaine, and they were found dead in their house. So even people who are not like junkies are being affected by this, and that's almost unheard of.
That's sad. It's sad. It's very, very scary. Very scary. How did you get sober? How did you end up getting sober? Going to treatment?
Yep. So when I was in the hospital, they basically asked me like, do you want to go to treatment? And like, I immediately said yes. Like I was so just exhausted and so just lonely and desperate. Like I needed to stop doing that shit. And like a year before then, I'll just say how I kind of started my YouTube channel. Like when I was using, I was a huge fan of Ryan Leone's YouTube channel. Like I literally binge watched every single episode. I would rewatch his episodes. I've watched probably every single episode. I think I've watched every single episode he's ever dropped, maybe minus a couple. But I was on his Patreon and stuff like that. And like, I just remember like really relating to a lot of stuff he went through because he was like an addict from the suburbs, went to prison, all that kind of stuff. And he's like really intelligent guy. Like, he wrote a book and friends with
I read his book, The Wasted Talent one. I read that book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
I was so into that book the whole time I was reading it. Like, it's trigger warning if you read it, but he goes into such great detail, and that's what makes it so great.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, it's loosely based on reality too, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I just was like, just watching his videos, like, even though I was still using, like, it gave me hope. And I was like, wow, like if a lifelong drug addict, like can like use his creativity and like tell his story and like make something of his life, like fuck, I'm like, I think I could maybe do that too. And
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying I'm as big as he is, or like I'm not saying I'll ever be as big as he is, but like just that notion in my head gave me so much like inspiration to get sober, and like gave me so much hope for the future. It's like, and I just clung on to that until I ended up going to the hospital, getting clean. And I had my laptop in the hospital, and I started making YouTube videos on my laptop, just fucking around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like started taking it serious, and and like I remember I had like an $80 Android phone, and I was making like these shitty ass edited videos. Like I made some fentanyl documentary, and it's just choppy as hell, but like I still like loved it, like it was just fun to me. And I met my girlfriend when I was like 3 or 4 months sober, and I ended up moving in with her, and she's been clean for 3 years. She's helped me so much. I can't even describe it. Like she's had so much patience and understanding, and like I honestly owe a lot of the stuff I've accomplished to her, because like I've had a safe place to live, and
Yeah.
that's been a big problem for me in the last 5 years, is like I never had anywhere stable to go, because it's like I'd go to these sober houses, and there was so much drug use going on at the sober houses. Sorry, I'm chewing a nicotine lozenge. I got like
You're
white
okay.
shit on my lips.
Yeah, you're okay. I know what you mean, though. At the sober living houses, you go there to get help, and then everybody in there is fucking up or having sex with each other, and all kinds of crazy shit's going on. And it's easy to get caught up in that, you know what I mean, and relapse.
Yeah, I was stuck in that cycle for so many, like pretty much all my 20s. Like I was, at some point or another going into treatment, out of treatment, sober house, out of the sober house. And it was just like this vicious cycle. And like all I ever wanted was just like, and I couldn't go to my dad's house because there was like sketchy shit going on there. And then, it was like, so when I met my girlfriend, it was like the first time like I actually had stability in my life. And, like I've had a couple slip ups since then. Like, I haven't touched a needle since March of last year, but I have had a couple slip ups on meth. And
That's okay. It happens.
And like the couple slip ups I had during last summer on meth were.
Oh no! Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Luke, are you still there?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you see me?
Why can't I see you? Oh, go ahead. I'm looking at it on here, and you're still on there, but on my phone, you're not.
I can still hear you.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good. Keep going. Go ahead.
I'm looking at it. But yeah, this summer, since I moved out of the city, my girlfriend, she lives like an hour outside of the city. So basically, oh shit, I feel kind of weird just saying this shit by myself because Nicole's gone. But yeah, you guys, basically like this summer, I was, since I lived so far from my methadone clinic, I did have weekly take homes, but I actually ended up filming a video of my weekly take homes. So I was just explaining to them, like, I was on the methadone clinic, and I had weekly take homes at one point, but I filmed a video on my YouTube channel of like my girlfriend and her roommate dancing in front of my methadone bottles. And I was kind of like, I was acting like it was like a rap video, and it was like bottles of lean, except it was methadone. And I thought it was hilarious. But my counselor at the methadone clinic did not think it was hilarious. And they instantly took my take homes away. And so at that point, I was like, fuck, I got to drive an hour there, hour back. And we're sharing a car. So I had to drop her off at work an hour, drive to the methadone clinic hour, drive back home hour, pick her up hour. So it was like a 4-hour commute every day just to get my methadone. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. Like, I'm taking my independence back. And so I just rapidly started tapering from 100 milligrams until I got down to 25. And it was really hard tapering that fast. It was like really fucking hard. And that's when I had some slips. Like I was, and I've admitted this plenty of times. Like I was drinking a lot this summer.
Well, yeah, that's a hard taper to, and if you're going that quickly, I mean, I can understand you're probably trying to make you're trying to, self-medicate, feel a little bit better.
Yeah, no. But you know what? Like I still am proud of myself that like I never went back to my drug of choice. I never went back to a needle.
Yeah.
But like in my mind, I justified it because I was like, you know what? Like, and I smoked a couple hits of a bubble here and there, and I was drinking, and I was also prescribed Klonopin. I forgot to mention that part. We're coming back to that now. So I've actually had a prescription for Klonopin for the last 3 years, like a pretty low dose, just 0.5 twice a day. I know plenty of people who are prescribed 4 milligrams. So it wasn't like I was on some crazy dose, but like I never got physically addicted to the benzos until I had to come off methadone because I was depending on it just to fall asleep at night because I couldn't sleep. I was just anxiety, restless legs. And now fast forward, it's been 6 months and now it's like, now I'm down to 0.25 milligrams. So I'm still on it, but I'm on a much lower dose. And like I'm so close to getting off of it. And it's just, I want to tell the audience too, is like, dude, benzos, like it's actually messing up benzos are neurologically toxic. And when you go through withdrawal, you start to get like neurological issues. Like I get ear popping, ear ringing, like I can't pronounce words and shit. And it started scaring the shit out of me. So like, basically what I did is like, I stopped, like, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to refill these meds anymore. Luckily, my girlfriend is prescribed Klonopin as well, but she takes them responsibly. So she has enough to help me out,
Yeah.
And so, but like I could go get a refill if I wanted to, but these neurological issues and all this stuff scared the shit out of me. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just done. Like, I can't, like, I don't want to like do any more damage to my body. So I've been doing a slow taper. And yeah, it's been, it's been a little difficult, but, I think I should be off hopefully by April. I should be off my Klonopin. And yeah, I don't know. Shit's just been really good lately. Like I've been
slow on the benzo. Like literally, Dr. B, the doctor I work for, he specializes in getting people off benzos, and he does it really, really slowly and listens to them and tells you to listen to your body and to not, if you feel like you don't need to go down, then pause it and stay at that amount. Like it's really, serious. It's like the new epidemic compared to opiates. Like people are getting cut off of benzos, people that have been on them like 20 and 30 years because doctors don't want to prescribe them anymore. And it's crazy the amount of people that reach out because of benzos. It's totally like on the 1-800 number, the phone number I answer for Dr. B, it is literally all people calling about benzos. It's really not even anybody calling about opiates anymore. It's benzos, 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 benzos.
Yup. And it's it's kind of a rock between a hard place because it's like when you start limiting access to like even opiates, or you start limiting access to benzos, people start seeking out these street drugs. So it almost creates this new problem. And I'm not saying I think benzos or opiates are good, but I think, I think having drugs illegal, I think it just makes the problem worse. I mean, just like when alcohol was illegal in the 1920s, what ended up happening? There was rum runners, speakeasies, bootleggers, and people were dying because of bad batches of alcohol back then. So, I mean, really what we're seeing is just a repeat of the 1920s when, the prohibition of alcohol, except now it's the war on drugs, and the drugs just keep getting more dangerous. And it's a hard problem to, how do you fix it? Because it's not as simple as just, oh, let's just make everything legal. Then how are you going to vend it? How are you going to dispense it? but it's a mind fuck if you think about it. But, you know, I'm grateful. I'm just so grateful that I've survived this long. Like I truly believe I'm a survivor, and I truly, you know, I'm a spiritual person. I truly believe my higher power has kept me alive through all this, because during my whole addiction, I've had over 10 overdoses. A lot of those were because of benzos and opiates mixed. Some of it was fentanyl. Some of it was I got out of prison and I used, and, you know, whatever the case may be. But, you know, some people aren't that lucky. Like I know a kid, what was his name? Luke Ronnie. His name was Luke Ronnie from Minnetonka. Rest in peace, Luke, if you're hearing this, brother. Or if his family members hear this. He was just a kid who just briefly started dabbling with heroin in like 2016, and boom, first overdose, he died, you know? So not everyone's going to be as lucky or as I am, you know? And it's
Right.
especially nowadays, it's just, if you're doing that shit nowadays, like there's no being smart about it. There's no safe, like it's just bad all the way around.
You know why I love you, Luke? Because you are honest about your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay that you are on a benzo right now. It's okay that you've had a couple of slips on it and on meth, because you own your shit and you're honest about it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I wanted you to come on here, because I think it's important to show people that, like, there's going to be, when you're trying to stay sober, there's going to be ups and downs, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Being ashamed of it isn't going to help you at all. You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to have you on, because I feel like you do a good job of being straight up transparent about it. I think that's very important and very admirable, you know, admirable. A lot of people, you could lie about it. You could be on here telling people, oh, I've been sober for 25 years, la, 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 you know, right. And you're not. And that's what makes you special. So I really appreciate that about you.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, you know, it's just, I don't know. I just, you know, and like, I appreciate the comment, you know, but, you know, to be honest, I mean, I didn't tell everyone for about a month after. The reason being because my probation officer found out about my YouTube. Yeah, there's a lot of things that say, I don't even like bringing that up, honestly, because, you know, the internet and stuff like that.
Well, you got to protect yourself, but you still came clean and we're honest about it. That's how I am with my stuff too. Because when my husband relapsed in 2020, I wanted to come and tell everybody right away and let them know what was going on. But I waited until Neil got his shit together and he was doing better, because we have to protect ourselves, because there's some sick motherfuckers on these damn apps who would love to just try to ruin our lives. They get happiness out of doing that shit.
Nicole, especially people that think we ruin their life, if you know who I'm talking
about. Right.
You know.
Exactly. And so I'm proud of you. I think you've done an amazing job just being transparent. I think that's why people like watching our channels, both of our channels, because we do keep it real. You know what I'm saying? And there's not a lot of people that do that, man. I'm telling you, we've all got to see that it happened before our eyes here on YouTube. People who have been presenting themselves one way and living another way. You know, it's such a common thing here on YouTube, where you can be somebody. It's an imaginary thing. And when it comes to recovery, it's so important to not do that, because you're literally toying with people's lives, dude, when you're doing that, you know?
Yeah, it's I mean, and it's one thing that, let's say you used and like a couple months later you come out with it.
Yeah.
But when you've built your whole foundation on something that's just not based in reality, like, you're lying to yourself, and karma's a bitch and it will come back to get you. I promise you. I've experienced myself, and you're lying to yourself, but also, you know, you're spreading misinformation to people, and that's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, and I'm fully like, I tell people, like, dude, like, drinking, you know, doing benzos, like doing all that shit, like that is not recovery. That's not a way. I mean, and I'm not saying you can't be on benzos and be in recovery, but I'm saying, for the most part, if you're addicted and you're a person who's inclined to addiction, like you're probably going to want to stay away from benzos and drinking and
Right,
Adderall
yeah.
and shit like that, because it's a slippery slope, and like one is too many and 1,000's never enough. So like, you're never going to be like, you'll get the Adderall, let's say, and that maybe it'll work for you for a few months, 4 months, but then your true self is going to come back, and you're going to want to go to what really gets you right, and that, in my experience at least.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. So that's what we want to spread a message over here of being careful, and especially when you're in early recovery, don't be testing the waters and shit, y'all. Just stick to staying sober, stick to not playing around, and try to, get that first year of sobriety is important for your foundation. And when you're like trying to do all this wobbly ass shit, trying to drink on the weekends, trying to get prescriptions for this, that, and the third, just focus hard on staying sober. Okay, get yourself with your mental health stabilized. And like for me, I was sober for like 4 or 5 years before I ever even thought about like, oh, maybe taking edibles for my depression would help, which it didn't. I ended up trying it, and it ended up making me more depressed. But like, I wouldn't try that in my early recovery with 5 months sober, because
Right.
I would have relapsed and been a shit show. It would have been horrible. So I don't recommend doing any of that. I wouldn't do it, period, because I ended up doing it and it ended up making me more depressed, and it just wasn't beneficial for me. But if you're like really in a bad way, consult your doctor, get with an addiction specialist, get with somebody who has your best interest at heart, not somebody that's going to co-sign your bullshit and say, oh, you want this? Okay, here you go. Like there's people out there who really care about you, really want to help you. But anyway, I'm glad that you came on. Now, what I want to do now that we had you on to tell your story, now I want to have you on for a show where we can talk shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And listen to me, we had almost like 70 people in here. There's 59 people in here right now.
Oh, that's
and
what's up. I didn't even know there's that many people in here. What's up, YouTube?
Yeah, I linked your channel in the comment section, and I'm also going to put in the description on my on the comments when I upload the video. And I was cussing your ass out before you got on here. I was like, "Where the fuck is Luke at?" But you did such a good job, and I appreciate you being honest, because it's hard when you're a dude to say like, I was insecure when I was younger, I felt this way, and I feel like a lot of guys can relate to the way you felt. You know what I mean? I know I can, and I mean, I'm not a guy, but I know I felt the same way when I was younger. I was very insecure, and I was always seeking validation from other people to make me feel good about myself, because I didn't feel good about myself on my own. So I think you did an amazing job. I really appreciate you for being honest about that also.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on that briefly, I mean, I have not always been that transparent. Like for many years, I held that shit in, and I let it consume me, and I let it run my life. I let other people's opinions run my life. But I think honestly, just getting beaten down and humbled so much, and like, actually, even going to meetings, even though I wasn't staying sober I only would get like 6 months clean, and then I would relapse. But I went to a lot of meetings, and I heard other people speak that were doing well in recovery. And like, so I formed an opinion on what it was to be doing good in recovery. And I just tried to implement those things in my life. And, for the most part, it works. But I do stuff like that. And like fitness is really big for me, like eating healthy. Like I really just this last couple weeks, I was really feeling like shit all the time. And I realized, oh, I'm eating shitty food all the time. So like, I'm legit on salads, fucking smoothies, all that shit.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's important. And I try to tell people that I fucked up. If you can get into your recovery and adopt a healthy manner of eating and exercise in early recovery, do it. Don't make the same mistakes that I did, because I was so focused on staying sober and getting custody of my son back that I leaned into becoming addicted to overeating, binging at night,
Me too.
eating sweets all the time. And now I'm 41 years old with high blood pressure. I'm overweight, and I got a doctor's appointment on Monday, and I'm going to have to get on blood pressure medicine and all this shit because of something I probably could have addressed in early sobriety and kept it from happening. Because I was small when I got sober. I was a good size weight. So if you can do that in early recovery, stay focused on getting outside every day, exercising, taking a walk, drinking plenty of water, do that. Don't make it like I did and have to do it at the end, because it's so hard, man. It's so fucking hard.
Right. Well, you can get there. Like, honestly, like, I'm still losing my methadone weight. I was up to 210. I mean, and that might not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but, you know, I'm 5'11", you know, not that big of a frame. And like, I really did start feeling like unhealthy, depressed all the time. So I just cut my diet, you know, started cutting my diet back. I'm down to like 195 now. I'm trying to get down to like 180. But I mean, honestly, like, if my advice to people like in recovery and stuff like that, well, not advice, but just what's worked for me is like, just try to always do the next right thing or the next healthy thing. Like, I quit vaping, quit drinking for the most part. And just like, I don't know, it's just like eating healthy and like living a healthy lifestyle, like, affects your mood so much. Just like exercising and shit like that. Like, I know we've all heard that a million times, but like, for me, that really is the key for me staying clean, is like making sure my body's healthy as long as my mind too, you know? So.
Absolutely. How much weight did you gain on methadone? Jessica wants to know.
Well, I gained about 30 pounds on methadone. I was like 180, 170, about 30, 35 pounds.
That's how much I gained, about 40, 45 over a span of like 3 years.
And just bloated all the time, just like bloated as fuck, you know? And like, also too, just a quick note, like, for people on Suboxone, constipation's a huge problem. I take psyllium fiber, like basically Metamucil fiber tablets, and I drink a lot of water. And that when I do that, I can take a healthy bowel movement every morning. And that is so important for your mental health, because if you're locked up down there, and your gut is directly linked to your brain, and it affects your mood. So I would suggest anyone on Suboxone or anything like that, take fiber supplements. Don't take Miralax. Don't take any of that synthetic shit. Take real fiber and drink a lot of water, and take magnesium.
Me and my members and patrons, we're going to learn about gut health and how it affects our brain. And we're going to cook food on my Patreon to like eat healthy and shit. Hell yeah. I'm excited. But listen, I got to get off, y'all, because my son, he has to do Dreambox, which is his computer homework for school. If he doesn't do it at night, he doesn't get it counted for the next day, and he needs my help. So I love you, Luke. Thank you so much for coming on, for real, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Y'all go subscribe to Luke's channel.
Yup. Narcotic Savant on YouTube. Check me out.
And I'm going to text you so that way we can schedule a shit talking session, okay?
Hey, I'm always down to do that. You know I'm down. You should come on my channel one of these days too.
Okay, cool. I'm down. All right. Love you, man.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Nicole. Love you.
Bye.
Peace.
Okay, guys. I feel like Luke did a really good job. Y'all give it up for Luke. Please go subscribe to his channel. He is making a new documentary on his channel. He told me about it. I forget what it was about, but I know that he's going to be doing one. So y'all want to see that. And I'm going to get him scheduled for a day where we can just talk about, you know, all kinds of different shit that's on YouTube and all that. And basically, y'all, recovery is a one day at a time kind of thing. None of us are perfect. If you are struggling, talk about it. Do not be ashamed, okay? Snitch on your addiction. Tell on your disease. Let somebody know that you're going through a hard time. Nothing to be ashamed of, okay? People think it's weak to reach out for help. Actually, it's the opposite. It's showing strength when you reach out for help, okay? Thanks, Shug. But I love you guys, and I will see y'all tomorrow. All my patrons and members tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to be a member, you just click my description box. It'll pull down. It'll say join as a member. We're going to, like I said, learn about gut health, and we're going to cook something healthy together. And I'll be live tomorrow, probably around 10:30 a.m. Central to do makeup if y'all want to come hang out and talk shit about recovery and all that kind of stuff. Okay? All right. Love y'all. Okay, Nate, you want me to help you?